Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. I had this whole video recorded and then realized that my mic wasn't working. So now I have to re-record the entire video again. Thankfully, this one wasn't too long because we're going to be taking a look at a pretty basic OG dash list. With that said, let's get started. Starting off with the hero ability, 4 intellect, 40 health, the standard. At the start of the game, we can start the game with a mechanologist item of cost 2 or less in the arena. Pretty basic. Mainly, we'll be getting a Teklo Pounder. I suppose there are some reasons to start with a Teklo Core in play, and Induction Chamber will come in versus matchups we bring that in from our sideboard, but that is for those matchups. Teklo Plasma Pistol is the best option because Dash OG gets to play Induction Chamber and Plasma Purifier really well. Crown of Providence gives us the defense in the head slot that we want, as well as a little bit of cycling, since the only mech helmet, I believe, is a sideboard piece because it has Arcane Barrier and no real other effect. Teklo Foundry Heart is probably a top 5 chess piece in the game. I think of the 5, this is probably number 5, since, well, no, that's not true. Of the 5, this is like number 4. Furnace is a little better. Tunic is obviously, this is around the slot of like tech plating. I'd say this and tech plating share like a 4-5 slot, just because 3 block, really good effect, really good, super important for their class. That's why this is in the deck. It's just peak for Mechanologist. Adaptive Plating was a new piece from Bright Lights. Bright Lights gave us this, as well as some of the Evos, which there's actually an Evo in this deck, thanks to some of the tech we saw at Worlds. Adaptive Plating is mainly here because what else are we going to really play? This is just 1 block, sometimes it's 3 block, so pretty good in their aggro matchups. Achilles Accelerator is just the best mech shoe. Our AB1, so we don't have to change any of our AB in against Rune Blades, as well as a pretty nice bonus action point if we ever need it. Looking at our inventory equipment, the Visitronic Model I for the Wizard matchups, plain and simple AB2. No Rune Gloves, since in the Wizard matchups we don't actually need block from any of our other gloves, so we might as well bring in the AB4. And then the Teklo Base Arms, just for those slower matchups, something like Bravo, so we can slide in the Evo Steel Soul Controllers, which are main board just because they're blue and block 3, but actually playable if we bring in the Teklo Base Arms as our starting equipment. Next, let's talk about the boost attacks. This is a boost-based deck. Pretty aggro list, although it is adaptable since we are playing the other items in our sideboard. Pulsewave Harpoon, just because it rips cards out of our opponent's hand, can take key components out that they may be saving, mainly in the aggro matchup, but also just rips a key card out of our opponent's hand if they're trying to save up anything and try to hit us with a crackback. 9 T-Bone, you don't need the yellow T-Bones, I just like them because we're not playing Meganetic Pulse Wave in this, or Meganetic Shockwave. I forget what that card is called. I don't play much Mechanologist, so I don't remember all the card names, but we're on 3 yellow T-Bone just because we're not on that card. We don't have all of the equipment denial that we'd wish we have. If you don't want to play the yellow T-Bone, you can go ahead and play some of the 3 for 6 reds, or you can play something like 3 of Outpace instead, just because it's another 1 for 4 that has some nice upside. 3 red throttle and 3 blue throttle. Blue is a breakpoint blue, and red is a popper. 3 Twin Drive because we're on 3 Max V, and also 3 Max V because we're a boost-based deck. 9X 0 to 60 and 9X Zipper Hit just because they are the golden standard breakpoint mechanologist attacks. And then 3 Combustible Courier Blue just because it is a blue pitch. It's really good with the Teklo Pounder, pushing it up to a breakpoint of 4, and it has to get blocked or they will be taking another 3. Moving on to our not attacks. High Octane is extremely good since we are a boost-based deck on the Teklo Pistol. Spark of Genius is a tutor for any of our items. Teklo Core is the other dash spec, giving us 2 free resources for the next 2 turns. And the Teklo Pounder boosts up a boost attack by 2 once a turn over 3 turns. This will be the main item we start with in most of our matchups. The final card in the main board is the Evo Steel Soul Controller. Evo Steel Soul Controller is extremely good when you bring in the Teklo base arms. However, it is a blue and block 3, so we can play it in our main board just so we can get that bonuses of having another blue and another block 3. Moving on to the rest of the sideboard. The other 3 Combustible Couriers, these ones red, these are here just for the matchups that we are definitely racing. Things like Phi. We want to bring in these Combustible Couriers because if they don't block them, this card in theory just comes in for 2 for 7. Really, really strong. Payload is just another popper. It only comes in versus matchups we need poppers. I guess you could bring it in for Bravo because this can end out a game. But against Bravo, you'd rather have something like your Chambers and your Purifiers so you can slowly pistol them down. Speaking of Chambers and Purifiers, 3 Chamber and 3 Purifier. A lot of lists aren't on 3 Chamber, however, we'd have that one weird slot where I wouldn't know really what to play. It could have been another Popper, I suppose, but then we'd have 9, that's a lot. Or it could have been maybe a different item, a Plasma Mainline possibly, but I think 3 Chamber is fine, as well as 3 Plasma Purifier, just because, I mean, they go hand in hand. This one pumps up your pistol, this one gives your pistol go again. It's like peanut butter and jelly, with the bread, I guess, being the Teklo Plasma Pistol. With all that said, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. This week, actually the day this is going up, I believe is Thanksgiving. So I hope you all have, if you're watching this prior to your Thanksgiving dinner and such, or if you're watching this after had a happy Thanksgiving. Next week, I'm not sure what we'll look at. This is really the last hero that got a bunch of cards from Bright Lights. I don't really want to do all the heroes that got expansion slot cards, even though some really got a big boost, mainly the Assassins, as well as Jeromai, but we'll have to see. Next week, we might take a look at the brand new Kasai and look at a list prior to all of the new cards being shown from the set, or I'm sure I'll find something else to do. With all that said, hope you all had a good day, or will have a good day, depending on when you're watching this. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.